Hi and welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you visit me, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get all the new videos. My name is Naveen. I'm originally from Egypt, but I've been living in Southern California for more than 20 years. I'm a real estate agent as a profession, but cooking is one of my passions. Throughout the years, I've tried to keep the traditions of my family as authentic as possible. Today, I'm gonna make Egyptian Kahk cookies with agamiya. They are made in special occasions and filled with a soft spot of honey and roasted walnuts. So let's get started with the ingredients. So the ingredients are 6 cups of flour, and I added 1 tablespoon of roasted sesame and 1 teaspoon of kahk spice. So this kahk spice, I get it from Egypt. It's a blend of fenugreek, cinnamon, cardamom, and a couple of more spices. But if you don't have it, you can do it without. It just gives it a special aroma and taste. And then I have here 5 sticks of unsalted sweet butter, which is about 2.5 cups of butter. And I have 3/4 of honey, and I'm gonna use that for the agamiya. And over here, I have more of the roasted sesame and roasted walnuts that's gonna be used for the agamiya as well. We're also going to use dry yeast, so we're going to need 1 teaspoon of that, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1/2 cup of warm water. I'm going to start with agamiya. So for the agamiya, I'm going to start now with the melted butter. So I'm going to use from the same melted butter that I'm going to use for the kahk, just about 2 to 3 tablespoons. And also from the same flour over here, flour mixture, I'm just going to use a couple of tablespoons. And then I'm going to lower the heat and start mixing it very, very well. I mix the flour and the butter very well. Now I'm going to start adding the honey to that, and the idea is to basically thicken the honey and make a special filling for the kahk. You can immediately smell the honey with the butter, and it smells so nutty and beautiful. Make sure that the heat is on medium while you're doing this. You don't want the honey to be burned. After adding all the honey, we wait until it boils, and then we keep stirring it on medium. The idea is to thicken the honey mixture, and the way you know that is when you start seeing the bottom of the pan. I can feel that the texture is changing while I'm stirring, and I can start seeing the pan right now. You see that? When I do like this, I see the pan. So now it's almost done. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the sesame and the walnuts to it after that and let it completely cool down by the time I do the yeast in the water. I just took off the agamiya from the stove, and I'm just going to add right now the sesame, a little bit of that. And again, it gives it such a great scent and aroma. And that's the roasted walnuts. I'm just gonna mix everything and let it completely cool down, because after that we're gonna start forming the soft center, like make it in little balls and fill the dough with it here. So now I'm just gonna leave it until it completely cools down. Now it's time to rise the yeast by the time the agamiya gets cooled down. So this is, I added 1/2 cup of warm water. Make sure that the water is not boiling, because that's going to ruin the yeast. So this is warm water, 1/2 cup, with 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of yeast. I'm just going to mix it all very well. And then I'm going to leave it in a warm place until it rises. While the yeast is rising, I'm going to mix the flour and butter. But meanwhile, I just want to show you how the agamia now looks like. See how it's stretchy and very thick? So what we're going to do is that we're going to start taking it and making it into small balls like that. Just like that. And if you're working by yourself and you don't have anyone to help you doing this, then you can make the whole thing, the whole agamia, just into balls and leave it on a small plate and start using it right away. There you go. So I'm gonna make all that and get it ready, and then I'm gonna mix the flour and the butter. I now added the melted butter to the flour mixture, and I'm gonna start incorporating everything together. After I crumbled the flour and the butter together, now it's time to put the yeast. Just adding the half cup of water with the yeast and sugar, and I'm gonna mix it very well. Now the dough is ready, and you always have to cover it so it stays warm while working. And I got a tray here with a parchment paper, and the oven, I put it on 350 until it beeps and be ready. I like them to be medium sized. So the way we do this is just make it flat, and then I add one ball of agamia right here in the middle, the center. And I close it like that and give it another roll and try to make it flat again. So there is a special tool that we use right here just to make like a decoration on top. If you don't have it, you don't have to do it, but it just gives it a nice decoration so we can put the powdered sugar on top. So I'm going to finish the first tray because this amount will make 2 trays, which is more than 40 pieces. So let me finish the whole thing. I'll be right back. I just finished the first tray, which took about 24 pieces, and I'm going to put it in the oven on 350 degrees for about 30 minutes until it gets fully cooked. This is actually the rest of the dough, and I want to show you how soft it is. It's still very soft, and I'm always covering it, and it smells amazingly good, and that's because the amounts are very good. Also, the agamia is still very successful, and it hasn't dried out. And you can see how stretchy it is. The most important thing is when you do the agamia is not to leave it too long cooking in the oven. Otherwise, it's going to dry out and you're not going to be able to fill it inside the dough. So I'm going to finish the second tray. I'll be right back. The first tray has finished and it smells very good. So now I'm going to start moving them to a rack until they completely cool down. And I just want to say something. If the agamia starts coming out, like here for example, this one, we just take it out immediately like that, because then it's going to dry out. So I'm going to start taking them completely out until they cool down, and then we're going to store them in a Tupperware. And right before we eat them, this is when we put the powdered sugar. I'll show you how after the second tray is done. The second tray has just finished and I moved it to the rack as well until it completely cools down. The whole place smells very good and nutty. I love baking. It's very therapeutic. When it completely cools down, then you move them to a Tupperware. And the time you eat, you powder them or dust them with powdered sugar. If you put the sugar prior and then you save them in the Tupperware, the sugar will get sticky. So it's better to powder them fresh at the time you eat. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, don't forget to hit subscribe. Bye for now.